You've experienced the Elder Scrolls series in your own way, but want to learn more about its story. Well, to get to the heart of the story, you have to go back to the beginning. Deceiver, Devourer, Queen, Goddess. Boethiah is the Daedric Prince of deceit, treachery, insurrection, and rebellion against lawful authority. Considered one of the most violent of the princes, she demands blood, combat, and very often outright murder to appease her appetites and gain her favor. Her followers believe any mortals haven't proven themselves worthy of her attention until they've taken a life. This sinister reputation has marked her as one of the evil Daedra, save for the Dunmer, who revere her. Indeed, much like her supposed rival, the intensely malevolent Molag Bal, Boethiah delights in the agony and deaths of those on the mortal plane. Those who follow her do so expressly aware that they are no more than playthings for the amusement of the Daedric Prince, and that at any time Boethiah may demand their blood or that of another at their hands. Gender means nothing to the princes. Male and female are mortal concepts. Boethiah has been portrayed as both genders at her various shrines. In Cyrodiil and Morrowind, shrines dedicated to Boethiah portray her as a strong-caped warrior wielding a giant battle-axe. In Skyrim, her shrine resembles a rather sinister-looking woman brandishing a blade. Her followers come from many corners of Tamriel to worship at these shrines, but as mentioned before, the Dark Elves are counted among her most devout cultists. Scholars agree that Boethiah, in conjunction with Azura and Mephala, is responsible for the emergence of the Dunmer as a distinct race. The ancestors of these dark elves were known as the Chimer, who themselves were descended from the ancient High Elven Altmer. As the preamble to the Dark Elves, the Chimer had been chosen to abandon the laws and customs of the Somerset Isles at the behest of Boethiah. We can be certain that this insurrection and rebellion of the Chimer pleased the Daedric mistress. The exodus of the Chimer is shrouded in mystery. Some historians say Boethiah had battled and defeated the Altmer god Trinimach, and in the end devoured him. Then, speaking with Trinimach's own voice, she convinced these upstarts to leave their home and follow the prophet Veloth, finally settling in Risdain, which would come to be known as Morrowind. Whether this legend of ages past is true, Boethiah is acknowledged by the world at large to be responsible for most aspects of Dunmer philosophy, magic, and architecture. Despite Boethiah's contempt for the lives of mortals, she came to be considered one of the good Daedra, along with Mephala and Azura. Later, when the Dark Elves submitted themselves to the rule and authority of the tribunal, these princes were all but cast aside, their shrines falling into disrepair. Following the later fall of the tribunal, Boethiah was again elevated to primary worship in the land of Morrowind. The realm of Boethiah in Oblivion is known alternately as Attribution's Share or Snake Mount. It has been depicted as a place of labyrinths, maze gardens, and twisted towers. It is where Boethiah's contest, the Tournament of 10 Bloods, has been carried out for millennia. A one-on-one battle to the death, the Tournament of 10 Bloods is an arena-style contest fought between the 10 major races of Tamriel. Bretons, Imperials, Nords, Redguards, Altmer, Bosmer, Dunmer, Orcs, Argonians, Khajiit. One representative from each race battles to the death to win the favor of Boethia, and the prize is one of her sought-after artifacts, such as Goldbrand, which has been awarded to a hero of Cyrodiil in the Third Era, and was offered to a hero in Morrowind at an earlier time in exchange for the erection of a new shrine in Vardenfell. Goldbrand takes the form of a golden katana, which is said to have been created by dragons and empowered by Boethia. It is rumored that Goldbrand played a key part in the Battle of the Red Ring against the Altmeri Dominion. In this battle, the Empire launched an assault to retake the Imperial City, which had fallen to the Thalmor. Reports from the battle indicate that Goldbrand was wielded by Emperor Titus Mede II, and with it, he and his Imperials drove the Elven menace from their city. Only rumor, though, unverified by the Imperial government, who probably doesn't want their citizens thinking their emperor is a secret Daedra worshipper. There is another legend of an artifact of Boethia known as Fearstruck that took the form of a shield which belonged to the hero Lyrisias, who is known for having fought against Akaviri slavers. Sadly, for artifact collectors everywhere, the shield was thought to be destroyed by the breath of a worm Lyrisias encountered in his journeys. Aside from the legend of Lyrisias, no account of this artifact exists. The most notable of Boethia's artifacts is without doubt the Ebony Mail. It may well be among the most powerful artifacts in existence according to some experts. At one time, the Eternal Champion possessed the mail, having retrieved it from the Black Marsh after Boethia lost favor with Helath Stormbinder, the previous owner of the powerful magic armor. Anecdotes indicate the Ebony Mail's enchantments have changed over time. When Tholo Saraione, Archcanon of the Temple of the Tribunal, sent a hero on a pilgrimage to Mount Asarnibibi, the hero was rewarded with the Ebony Mail. At the time, the artifact featured a constant shielding, as well as a resistance to both fire and magicka. Yet, when the artifact reappeared during the time of the last Dragonborn, the Ebony Mail carried different enchantments that nullified most magic-based attacks, muffled noise, and exuded a poison that injured anyone within a certain radius of the wearer. The reasons behind the variations in the armor's enchantments over time have never been explained. Boethia and her devotees function according to a simple edict. It is actions and the will to make them that are deserving of merit. Words, be they sermons, titles, platitudes, or pleas, are hollow and worthy only of contempt. Indeed, pleas for mercy often incite the Daedric goddess of sedition to even greater acts of cruelty. She cares not at all for her worshippers, other than to enjoy their suffering and destruction, as evidenced by her actions. A tournament, intended for her amusement, always reveals the strongest warriors of the period, setting them apart with her favor and her artifacts, until her interest wanes again. Ultimately, she turns upon her champions in anticipation of another, stronger mortal to serve her own nefarious ends. The limits of Boethia's cruelty has known no boundaries. She continues to be a source of anguish and suffering amongst the lands of mortals. Many would assume Boethia's deeds have no greater purpose outside of her own amusement, and while there is some truth to this, she has clearly taken steps to reshape Nirn in her own image. Her actions not only helped give birth to the Dark Elves, but the Orcs owe their plight to Boethiah's hand as well. It was from the remains of Trinimac that another prince would come into existence. A Daedric Prince who would be seen as an outcast among his own kind. The Orcs revere him as the god of the spurned and the ostracized, keeper of the sworn oath and bloody curse. But that is a story for another day. A special thanks to our sponsors.